particularly for our judges, just for a reminder. Here are our judges, so thank you all very much for helping us out today. We appreciate that. And all of your fans at home watching this streaming live are clapping for you. I hear them. Okay, so this is just a reminder of the rules, and since our couple of contestants are here, just remember we've already gone over all these rules. Just the main one is this PowerPoint slide, you have to do the spoken word. If you break out into song, we would probably really enjoy it, but we'll disqualify you. And so these are the rules. And if you break a rule, what we will do is either I will call you on or the judges will, but it's going to be the judge's decision as to whether or not to disqualify you, okay? One of the big ones is our timer. Diana is really mean, and if you go over 1 second, what will they hear, Diana? Yes, they will. They will hear the bell. So you do not want to hear the bell, okay? And just again for our judges and also for our contestants, the judging criteria and the content, there's a couple of different areas, so they will be scoring you on that. And basically what we're going to do is the competition moves fairly quickly. So you'll come up, I will put a microphone around your neck. That is for the audio feed, not necessarily for this room, but making sure our audio gets that. And you will, once you come out onto the platform and you begin to move or talk, that's when Diana will start the clock, okay? If you forget what you're saying during the presentation, the clock keeps going, okay? So we won't stop the clock really for any reason. So it's your 3 minutes. So use all of it if you can, okay? And then mainly we want you to be engaging. So relax, take a couple of deep breaths, and talk to your audience. Talk to the judges about your research. You want them to be excited about it. So that's what you want to do, is basically talk to us in a way that we can understand. Okay, so before we move into the competition, anybody have questions? Judges, any questions? Contestants, any questions? Danielle, did I miss anything? No. Okay, so this is heat number 2. Ramez, you're going to be our first one. So let me turn your microphone on. Okay, and judges, are you all ready? Okay, and I will go ahead and turn the floor over to you.
The Texas Department of Transportation estimates that they will need $4 billion this year to fix everything wrong with your roads. Nationally, drivers spend over $100 billion each year fixing damage to their vehicles due to poor roads, like that one in the picture. Up there on the screen, you see roads that are of the type that you like to drive on. And right next to it, you see roads that, if you live in Austin, you're probably used to driving on. Now, my research focuses on how we can solve this problem. So what we've done is we've realized that the biggest problem in building roads and creating distresses in roads is using the wrong materials. How do we know what the right materials are? Well, we test them in the lab. Up here, you see an example of a typical laboratory test that we do for cracking in roads. Now, asphalt mixtures are the most common material used for constructing roads. Think of asphalt mixtures like a Rice Krispie treat. You've got aggregates, which are like the Rice Krispies, and you've got binder, which is the glue that holds it all together. Now, when you mix these two materials, you make asphalt concrete. So what we do is we make those samples in the lab out of the materials that we want to use on the roads. We test them, and we see what has to happen for them to crack. What we realized is that asphalt mixtures almost entirely crack along the binder, rarely along the aggregates, which are strong rocks. So we decided to just test the binder. That's a typical example of a failed asphalt binder. You can see that it fails by some kind of mechanism that looks like bubbles popping almost. It doesn't look like how you'd expect a crack to form in a normal material. It's because asphalt's very unique. Asphalt comes from the petroleum industry as a byproduct, and what we notice in asphalt is that every producer's mix is a little bit different. The problem is, we haven't figured out a good way to tell those differences apart until we actually get it on the road and we see what happens. So, what we've figured in the lab is we want to go all the way down to the smallest level possible, the microscopic level. That's what you see behind me in these photos. Here you have different asphalt binders, the microscopic level, both their surface and inside the material. Now, the goals of my research are to see how we can connect what we see down here all the way back up the chain to ensure that our roads look like that and not that. How do I propose to do this? Well, going through each step of this process. So we've got microscopes that can tell us what each binder looks like at the very smallest level, up to binder tests, to mixture tests, and then we can actually test it in the field on the road. My goal is to tell you what exactly you should put in your asphalt binder to prevent it from cracking like that. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you on behalf of all the drivers in Texas. We appreciate your work. Okay, your wire's
That-
open.
okay.
Give me just a second, hang on. Before.
Roadway crashes is one of the biggest problems of our contemporary world. In fact, the World Health Organization have categorized roadway crashes as an epidemic of the 21st century. It affects millions of people around the world. And there are multiple factors and multiple causes that we could address in order to prevent roadway crashes. And one of them is improving pavement friction. It has been observed that when there is low pavement friction, there is an increase in roadway crashes. And the opposite is also true. When we have good pavement friction, the likelihood of roadway crashes tends to decrease. So you may be wondering, well, why don't we provide good pavement friction in all our roads? And the answer is because there is not enough money to do that. It will be a little bit expensive, and there will be no money to address other problems. So we need to do a balance here. We need to find a balance here between improving pavement friction and, and reducing roadway crashes. And so far, this balance has been found just using historical values or qualitative methods. And this is where my research plays a role here. I developed a framework in order to quantitatively estimate what are the benefits and the costs of improving of improving pavement friction and thus reducing roadway crashes. So we developed, first we needed to understand how the pavement friction degrades over time. We use Markov chains to understand that. Also, we need to estimate what are the costs if we want to improve pavement friction. And the last one is using statistical tools, link what are the expected number of crashes for different pavement frictions. And we have these nice curves that you could see in the right. And the advantage of this framework is that first you could quantitatively see what are the benefit cost ratio of setting different goals of pavement friction. Also, it could be adapted. It's flexible enough so it could be adapted to different counties, different municipalities, cities. So in different climates or regions where the deterioration is different, you could apply the methodology. And this curve will shift to the right, to the left, up or down, but still you will be able to quantify it quantitatively. So that was the result, and this is a tool that I hope it could be implemented in multiple agencies. So engineers could continue saving money, public funds, and avoid roadway crashes. Thank you.
Thank you both for working on the roads. They're just getting better by the minute, aren't they? So thank you. How are you? Good. Okay. Turn around and I will.
Thank you.
the judge. Okay, we're all ready?
Skin cancer is the most common cancer in the US. Imagine that you notice a red mole on your skin and worry about it. You go to the clinic to see a dermatologist. They will visually check the mole for you first, and then may send you for a biopsy. Biopsies are invasive and expensive. It may take 1 week or so to get the results. Sounds painful and scary, right? I have a great news for you. Our photonics lab in biomedical engineering can use light to detect cancer non-invasively, quickly, and at a low cost. When the light is shined on your tissue, my computational model can tell you immediately whether it is normal or cancerous, and even what type of skin cancer it is. You may wonder, how? Well, when the light is shined on the tissue, the light undergoes scattering and absorption. The returned light can be collected and contains information of the measured tissue. Based on the collected light, we can tell the difference between the normal and the cancerous tissue. Because biologically, the normal and the cancerous tissue is different, and this affects light transport and makes the collected light different. Along with that, my research is developing a computational model based on light transport simulations. My model is able to extract biological parameters from the collected light, such as melanin concentration and blood volume fraction. These parameters show significant difference between the normal and the cancerous tissue, and can be used to classify different types of skin lesions. In fact, our group cooperated with dermatologists, and we have conducted 2 successful clinical trials. My model is able to classify different types of skin lesions even more accurately than dermatologists. Well, so far, all I will talk about is skin cancer. But actually, this technology can be also used for other cancer detection, such as cervical cancer. In the future, you may not need a pap smear, since we will use non-invasive light to detect cancer efficiently. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, do we have other contestants still waiting? Anybody waiting? Okay. So we're going to take a little break, and we're going to give folks some little time to come in, and so feel free to move around, and I'll make an announcement before we start, okay? Thank you. To deliberation, and then anybody who comes in after we leave for deliberation will be moved to tomorrow's seat. And I would guess we will be back with the announcement about which one of you or ones of you will go for the final, I'd say by about 10 after, 15 after 2. We'll make that announcement, okay? Thanks, okay. First of all, thanks again to our judges. This was one of 3 heats. We had 3 great contestants, and thank you both, the ones who remained. So what's going to happen next, I'm going to announce the names of the people moving forward, and then Danielle, you will contact them and we will see the finalists tomorrow afternoon. I think we start at 2. So the great news is that both Ramez and Yao are moving forward to the finals. So congratulations to both you guys. You did a great job. I have a couple of little pieces of feedback for each of you if you want to come down. And otherwise, everybody's free to go. Thank you, judges, very much.